What's up, you guys? It's Steve here, and there is a lot unfolding with stimulus today. This is your stimulus check update and your stimulus package update, as we now have received confirmation from both the White House and leaders in Congress. They're saying that they're going to have both the bipartisan bill and the reconciliation bill with not just physical infrastructure, but also social or human infrastructure with stimulus provisions by next week. They're saying in July right now, you guys. So we're going to be taking a look at the video footage that we got directly from the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, and some articles, as we're hearing that bipartisan group of lawmakers known as the Problem Solvers Caucus, they came out today and said that they're also going to be supporting that bipartisan bill, and that could be throwing a wrench in Nancy Pelosi's ultimatum plans, you guys. So we're going to be diving into this. This all is just coming out today. So I'm going to let you know the latest as of today, July 6th, 2021. But before we dive in, if you could do me a quick favor, just takes a second. If you like and appreciate these updates, don't forget to take a second to just smash that like button, leave your comments, and share this out on social media platforms. Those simple gestures just take a second, and they really help out my channel a lot. Thank you so much. And if this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, don't forget, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. I'll keep you up to date on all these topics. Come and join the viewing community, the Ram fam. And if you got any specific questions for me, be sure to shoot them to me on Instagram at SteveRam3. I try my best to respond to all the DMs as quickly as I can. But with that being said, you guys, let's dive into some video footage. We're going to hear directly from the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki on the latest with the new timeline and the plans moving forward with the upcoming infrastructure bill that's going to be providing more stimulus.
Go ahead, right there. Sorry.
Right. On the families plan, obviously as Biden goes tomorrow to Illinois to promote his vision, the White House is still in negotiations about what he's actually going to make it into the package. Are there certain, as with the infrastructure plan, certain core priorities or red lines that he has around this package in a similar way?
Sure. So you're talking about the reconciliation package, right? Okay. So the president is obviously there's a lot of work that needs to happen with Congress, and we expect over the next week there to be a lot of behind the scenes bill writing, negotiations, discussions on Capitol Hill, long nights, lots of coffee over the course of the next several days. Given that Leader Schumer has conveyed that he would like to see both the reconciliation package and the infrastructure bill on the floor in July, and we're in July now. In terms of the president's priorities, he has outlined his blueprint in his budget. That includes the American Families Plan, includes key components he'll talk about when he's on the road tomorrow in Illinois. It includes an extension of the child tax credit, includes paid leave, it includes universal pre-K, making community college a reality for Americans across the country. It also includes prioritizing and pushing for components of the American Jobs Plan that did not make it into the final infrastructure bipartisan agreement. So that is key components of climate tax credits, key components that will help address our climate crisis, also a number of proposals on housing affordability and accessibility that the president would like to see in a final reconciliation process, but we'll be closely engaged and closely discussing with members who are writing the legislation.
Well, there you guys have it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. A lot in that small clip that just came out today, as we heard her say that they're going to be having late nights with lots of coffee as they're going to be working on getting this done over the course of the next week. And they want to get this done, according to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, in the month of July. And that's not just that bipartisan bill, that's also the entire reconciliation bill, the one that they're saying is going to be $6 trillion. That's going to have both physical and human infrastructure. And we heard her mention some of those social provisions, those ones like free childcare, free college tuition, an extension of the child tax credit. And she said even some of the provisions that did not make it in, they're thinking about including more and more provisions as well. And she said we're going to see what makes it in to the bill, and whatever doesn't, they want to see if they can get it into the second one. So you guys, they are on the move. There is a lot of stuff happening. There was a lot right there. We got a new timeline, and we got confirmation of new stimulus provisions could be going into the second portion of the package. Now, we also have an update that bipartisan group of lawmakers, the Problem Solvers Caucus, you remember them? We heard that they're on the scene, and they're actually now supporting that bipartisan bill, and they're actually foiling the plans of the ultimatum of Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi. Now, before we dive into this article and I share with you what it has to say, let me explain just really quick the strategy that's unfolding, so that way you can understand, just in case it's a little bit fuzzy. Now, there's actually two potential paths to us getting this infrastructure bill passed with more stimulus. Now, the first one is that they want to pass the first portion of it, which is going to be for physical infrastructure known as the American Jobs Plan. It's about roughly $1.2 trillion worth of money that's going to be funding roads, bridges, and highways. And right now, we could have potentially a bipartisan agreement on that. Now, there's not as much provisions included in there that Democrats would like to see, but Republicans are happy with it. We have bipartisan agreement, and they're thinking that they're going to be able to pass it through. Now, if that's the case, Republicans, for the most part, want to stop there, saying that's all we need. We agree with infrastructure. We don't agree with what they're calling human infrastructure, which is essentially more stimulus. It's another term they're using for another stimulus package, and they're calling this the second portion of the infrastructure bill, where we could be seeing provisions like we heard from White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, that we could see childcare, we could see free college tuition, we could potentially see more stimulus checks, we could see all these provisions that go out to help put money in people's pockets. Republicans say we don't need to spend any more money on that. Democrats are saying they'd like to see more of it. So if that bipartisan first part passes, we'll likely see Democrats then come together and use the process of reconciliation to pass this through and make this law, all of these human provisions, these stimulus provisions, through the process of reconciliation, where they can just do it with a simple majority vote, since they are currently in full control of Congress. So that is the first potential path that we could go down to get more stimulus. Now, the second path would be that if bipartisan talks fall apart, all of this will just kind of dissolve. Then we'll see Democrats go through the process of reconciliation for everything, both the physical and the human infrastructure, and pass it in a massive $6 trillion package. Now, one of the concerns with that is having these huge numbers sometimes can be overwhelming for more of the moderate Democrats like Joe Manchin and Sinema. However, we have heard Joe Manchin say that he is on board for reconciliation if it is necessary, but he has said that that overall price tag, he doesn't know if he necessarily agrees with it, so he might request that they come down before he gets on board. But these are essentially the two paths that we could see. Now, that bipartisan path, what makes that good is they pass that through, and then the second portion, when they pass it through reconciliation, the overall price tag is a little bit smaller, and it makes it a little bit easier for moderate Democrats to handle. So we're going to see, but these are the two paths. And now we've also heard today that the Problem Solvers Caucus, that group of bipartisan lawmakers, they're now also on board with that bipartisan bill, making that first path more possible, which makes reconciliation a little bit easier for moderate Democrats. Now, let's take a look at this article, and we're also going to see how this also could be foiling the plans of Nancy Pelosi, who said that she wanted to pass the two of them together, pretty much giving Congress an ultimatum. So link in the description below to this article that just came out 2 hours ago that says bipartisan House group's endorsement of Senate infrastructure plan could trip up Pelosi's strategy. And it says a group of Democratic and Republican House members on Tuesday endorsed the bipartisan infrastructure framework crafted by senators and the White House, but potentially complicated its path to passage along the way. It says the 58-member Problem Solvers Caucus said in a statement that it strongly supports the Senate's proposal, and if the group of 29 GOP members vote for the plan, House Democrats have room to lose support from skeptical progressives and still pass a roughly $1.2 trillion infrastructure framework. Now it says, however, the group signaled that it could try to trip up House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's strategy to pass the bipartisan plan in concert with a separate Democratic proposal to invest in childcare, education, and efforts to fight climate change. Now, in a statement, the Problem Solvers Caucus called for an expeditious standalone vote in the House on the bipartisan framework. Now, Pelosi has indicated that she will not take up either of the compromise infrastructure bills or Democrats' plans until the Senate passes both of them. Now, this risky strategy came about as Democratic leaders tried to ensure that their centrist and liberal members back both proposals. Now, President Joe Biden's support for tying the bills together threatened the bipartisan deal until he backpedaled, reassuring the GOP senators who backed the infrastructure plan. Now, the 29 Democratic members of the Problem Solvers Caucus did not explicitly threaten to withhold support for either plan if the House does not vote on them separately. However, the group's statement underscores the challenges Democratic leaders face in trying to get both the bipartisan plan and their broader priorities through Congress in the coming weeks. So they didn't outright come out and say it, but it says a spokesman for Pelosi, the California Democrat, did not immediately respond to a request to comment on the Problem Solvers Caucus stance. Now, the Senate plans to move first to pass the proposals after it returns to Washington next week, you guys. So once again, confirmation that they're trying to do this by next week. So this is going to be moving very quickly. Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he has said that he will start the votes on the bipartisan framework and the budget reconciliation that would allow Democrats to approve a second bill without Republican support. So both the bipartisan and also the reconciliation, both of these, they want to have ready in the coming 7 days. Now, the $1.2 trillion infrastructure measure includes $579 billion in new spending, and it would put more than $300 billion into transportation and more than $250 into power, broadband, and water infrastructure. Now, while at least 21 senators in the White House have signed on to the plan, lawmakers have not yet turned it into legislative text. So we're still waiting on that, but you guys, they're saying that this is just right around the corner. So with that being said, it looks like there's going to be a lot unfolding with stimulus over the course of the next couple days. As always, you guys, I will be sure to keep you up to date here on the channel and let you know what happens, which path we go down, what provisions get included, and what's going to be unfolding here with all of these stimulus provisions. And once again, you guys, if you like and appreciate that, thank you so much for joining me. And once again, don't forget, if you haven't already and you made it this far, smash that like button. It helps out the channel. I appreciate it. And if you like to stay up to date on all these topics, come and join the viewing community, join the Ram fam, smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Follow me on Instagram at SteveRam3. And if you want to see what stocks or cryptos I'm trading in real time, be sure to join that Patreon group. And if you want to get some free stocks and cryptos right now, use the link in the description below. And with that being said, you guys, I hope this reaches you well. Like I said, I'll be sure to keep you up to date. I'll catch you in the next video. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.